Welcome back everybody, DestinysJesus here. In this video I'm going to be covering what I learned from FNCS Warmup. It's going to be a bunch of really useful tips and tricks and advice for you guys who want to perform in trios in Season 8, so there's a bunch of useful things for the meta. This is kind of my first time actually sitting down and playing this season, so we still actually managed to perform like top 60, and there's a bunch of things that I was learning throughout, as well as some really useful things that you guys need to make sure you know if you want to perform this season. As always, make sure to like on the video, and also just a quick plug, the Master Cards will be getting updated in about a week, so make sure to go check that out if you haven't already, and also make sure you subscribe as well. Alright, let's get into this with our first game. Okay, so first thing is just typing for W King and lower elo, or if just W King at all. Make sure you understand the angles that you set up your fight from. So you can see right here, when approaching a team, they're all split in different directions, and my teammates are together and fighting from a kind of high ground horizontal angle, right? So you can see there, what I'm going to do is drop down, make sure I land directly below this other player, and the important thing of this is I cone him straight away, drop him down into my piece. At this point, we've got a free kill. My teammates are both coming in from that side angle, I drop him down into piece control, get everything around him, cone slide as well, get the kill on the next one since he dumped into the piece as well, and then from there, really simple trio wipe. In these lower elo lobbies, to get consistent 20 kills, you need to be killing teams quickly, and just understanding your angles as you approach fight will make that so much easier. Okay, so first lobby, or lower elo lobbies, how do you actually consistently get to win? So the one big thing that I need you guys to understand is to make sure you're always trying to visualize and scout how you can take height at the correct point. And obviously it depends on the zone, depends on the situation, but as you can see here, zone is playing into the ocean over here, and the only natural high ground that's forming is on this right hand side. It's not playing into old builds or anything, it's just natural high ground on the right hand side, so that's exactly how we're going to play for it. And the important thing to do is to make sure you scout and pre-build a little bit, so pre-tap forward, just so you can get an idea of roughly where you want to pad from, and actually where you want to land. So you can see here, that scouting allows us to visualize this and actually see exactly what's going on, make sure we're aware of it, and as soon as we fly up and we see a bunch of people fighting on height and dropping down, doing some random stuff, we realize, okay, perfect opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and start cranking, look back, make sure this other guy is not like ramping over, stop doing something stupid. At this point, I go full ultimate, get to a really high layer, and the important thing when you're on a really high like this is everyone else is panning at this point, so you want to try to avoid people landing on your layer here. So you can see, because of how high we're up, literally no one is going to pad to us, and at this point, we can go ahead and do a couple of different things. You could start layering down and try to drop down and connect, but what I think is probably better, after you take height and there's nobody really flying at this point, and there's a possibility of these players looking up from front side, instead it's just a low pad down like a bounce pad, right? So you can see here, I set it up, wall behind in the storm, make sure you place that floor up top there, bounce pad down, my teammate did a little bit before me, and we all just triple go up and crank at the same time. And the important thing is to focus on staying on the right hand side of the zone, and then from there we have a really easy height take. Also, one quick thing when you're playing around these kind of mountain zones or anything with like a high elevation change, especially with the new UFOs, is to make sure you're aware of where zone can pull. Most likely zone is going to pull south here, so I call for my teammates in a second. If it pulls uphill, we all have to go front side. If it pulls uphill, I tell everyone to go up, and this is the most important thing. If people fly and land on us, or if we were impatient or just played around us here, trying to go for sprays, playing on this lower level, somebody would have padded and probably go for like a one pump or something stupid. It always happens, and you can see right there, if that player was a full trio, or he just went for a shotgun shot so he landed, and we were still in that lower layer, it would be very easy to lose high ground and lose the game. You can see we all go up, make sure we're playing on such a high layer that we can't even get landed on, and at this point it's a really free win. You can just skip through it, literally just making sure we're staying on height and spraying, and we get a load of kills, and we finish like a 22 kill win. Okay, so this next tip is really useful if you're ever in a position where you're rotating into 50-50 zone or even 4th zone. Try to do this. Just make sure you mark above somebody's base and just see whereabouts in zone are they, because oftentimes you'll see here these players are just sitting in their cones, are not really peeking at all, and what you can go ahead and do is just land very safely. Try to land on the top of the cones so you don't get edited down if they do edit, then go up a layer, make sure you're fully connected, and you can see we've got a really free height based on 50-50 just by marking as we come into zone or as we use that pad in. And also the first thing you should do as soon as you build that base, let your teammates go ahead and build up and actually take height, but from there you need to go back and storm and connect in metal just so you don't get chopped out. From here, if any of the zones pull over towards our side, on this east hand side, we're going to have a really free height game and probably a free win from that as well. Okay, so this is something really small that I saw Seti's team doing a lot during the last FNCS. So whenever you actually get a refresh like that, you can see I get the kill. As soon as I get the kill, I just keep on tapping, don't even need to get the mats because my teammates are going to bring them forward, and make sure you just prioritize front side. Obviously this is pretty common stuff at this point, knowing that you should be trying to claim low ground, but another thing that they were doing that not a lot of other pro teams were doing is always making sure you get really deep into the end of storm on these later moving zones. You can see here this is second moving. What I'm going to try to do is cut this team off completely, as you can see here. cut them off, go wide and make sure I'm in this position. Well, as you can see, I'm literally on the right hand side of the zone, even though I pulled from the left hand side. So I get really far and really deep. We're in a position where we're completely chilling at this point. We could all heal up, all pop mid kits and all pop minis and stuff, right? And at this point, because we're so far in, when zone pulls like this, right? You can see in a second, it pulls north. We have this really easy option just to play right hand side, save a lot of mats. We don't need to build on our right at all. If it pulls south, the same thing will happen. We want to build on our left hand side over towards this way at all. The majority of the server, literally every single player, is over towards this left hand side. Just use the dead side of these later moving zones. Also, the really nice thing with this is if it pulls anywhere over towards the east hand side, we're gonna have a really easy charm of just taking front side and claiming everything. So you can see here, I get completely front side. Team does go to our right, but because of the fact that we're on low ground and I've gained everything, we're actually get another refresh from that and a really easy position to just do well in this end game and get a lot of refreshes. This is another very small thing that a lot of people don't really notice, but it's just the timings of when you go for a play later on. So you can see here we're in night zone, just about to go into night zone actually, and we're on a pretty decent situation in terms of mats. The one thing we should be doing is thinking about how can we win this game. We've got enough kills, we've got all the mats and everything we need. Don't really need a refresh at this point. We even just need to claim our layer. Either go straight up for high ground and kill them quickly, or claim low ground. The one thing I think looking at the zone as it plays here in a second is low ground is definitely the better option. It's playing into the river, you're going to get a load of refreshes on people no mats in storm or in the water or something, and you have a very easy heal off if you just build in a straight line over the water. That is 100% the best thing to do. But as you can see here, we waste so much time just tarping for a second and looking on low ground. At this point, I honestly think I should just drop low ground and just tank a bunch of storm with it since I've got a med kit and try to claim everything. You can see this timing, we wasted about 4 or 5 seconds. This other team starts tarping over to it, they claim it instead. We could maybe jump down in front of them and try to fight, but it is a little bit risky. We don't have a chug cannon. So what we decided to do instead is just to play for the top 2 by killing the height team, and then knowing the low ground team's probably just going to win the game because it's going to go to heal off. So you can see we all scout it. Warren got on a cone for a second to actually have a look, and then we also decide to ramp it. And with a pepper on this, it's pretty easy to do. Just make sure you know you probably got more mats than them, so you need to play map game versus them. A teammate gets high above them. We actually pinch this other player in a second here, and we get a really easy high take. The one thing with that is obviously in this point there's a whole team down in the water and they're just immediately going to start spraying up after they clear out low ground. And at this point we're pretty much just guaranteed to get top 2.
I don't have it.
It's a solo, I want to send it. Who's got mats? I got 0 dots.
I have 100. Someone mats. Full box them.
100 high. 10 high.
Is it all you?
Okay, so as you can see there, top 2 with a decent amount of kills is still really good in this format or in any format at all. Okay, so in the next game we actually do things a little bit smoother and we actually get into another top 2 position here from low ground. So as you can see, what I was talking about earlier, the timings, it is really important to make sure whenever you're chilling in a situation like this, is that you take a bit of time and think about the zone and think about the possible plays that you can make. So you might have seen it there actually calmed. If it plays north or anywhere north, we're going to immediately drop low ground just because it's playing a layer down and it's playing into that barn.
Drop low, come I'll tee up.
You can see I instantly go ahead and do it, just make that call, don't even wait for my teammates' reaction or anything, and claim all this. And the important thing in the second here is to start cutting off these teams and start going into them so you claim a lot more space. Don't just sit on the whole edge of storm playing really far back. Make sure you get to the ultimate front side where the circle is the widest and actually at the front, and try to get all these edits on these other teams. So you can see them trying to go for blueprint edits. Obviously I've got really shit mechanics, so it doesn't work, but you can see just the importance of getting all these edits from other people, forcing them off this layer, and actually forcing yourself in a position where you're going to have a really easy job of claiming low ground and claiming everything in a second here.
Or can you top actually for a sec? Copy. Top, please.
Also, the thing I found which is really useful playing with Coffee, I know True remember, is the fact that he can actually just go ahead and take over top when I need to heal. So later on, when we're in a very scuffed situation, I don't need to keep on tarping while I'm low HP, and instead can just take the time to heal up. Now, obviously I can get all the mats, and after I heal up, I can continue tarping. But as you can see here, it plays completely back through old tarp. 4/3 moving, and the important thing when it plays back like this is to stop just getting greedy and lurking around looking for kills. Instead, all 3 of you get to the front side of storm instantly, and at this point you can have loads of edits and loads of opportunities to go for kills. And most importantly, because you're all triple front side, you can't get off by another team at all, and because you've got all these edits, you're going to get loads of kills. This is a quick thing. If there's anybody at all from Epic watching, I know you guys don't like me, but please remove this fog. I don't know what I'm looking at. Look, there's a whole trio flying in a second here. There's a whole trio up on that hill that I can't see. I'll cheer up there, yeah.
He's far left.
Hold, I don't know what's going on here. Hold trio just flying through, can't see this fucking thing. In a second here. Hold, there's a whole trio there. Where are they? Who knows? Okay. Yeah.
What am I looking at?
Alright, let's get into this next point. Okay, so something really important is during mid-game, obviously try to have a little bit more space. Again, as you can see here, we've got this area plus this area. It makes it look like we're a little bit bigger, or there's two teams separately. And the important thing is obviously you get more surge, but also you get more angles if you need to make a play. That kid got railgunned, or he just got hit for a lot, I don't know which one. And at this point, we have different angles where you can pressure. So basically like 3 different teams spraying this team at the same time, just because of the amount of angles that we've got. So you can see there, I get this initial knock in a second to make us W key over from that guy that got hit low. And at this point, we all just commit to going in from different angles, and we actually make sure we get edits and everything at the same time.
We need to after him out.
I have one the way to skin. No, dead again, go for that. Come in.
Also, I've mentioned this quite a few times in previous videos, especially in solos, but it works really well in trios, is to make sure you fight away from the server. Don't come in from this angle over this way, there's other people going to spray you in the back. Make sure that other people in the server will spray for you and help you, as you can see here. These guys are getting sprayed in the back, makes it really easy for us to actually just jump in the box and get the kills, and they get beamed by the other team at the same time.
Oh my god.
Okay, so this is something that I actually did in the last game that is really easily avoidable. We weren't playing the most serious because we'd already called with like top 50 or whatever at this point, but it's still something that you should actually make sure you're avoiding making these kind of mistakes again, especially when the tournaments actually start to matter. So you can see here at this point, there's a whole team on height, and instead of actually just focusing on our rotate, and we've got really good surge with everything we need, we've got really good mats as well, instead of just focusing on our rotate, we're trying to do too much random things. I was talking about spraying out height, talking about rail gunning height, doing loads of different crazy things, instead of just focusing on scouting rotate. And because we didn't scout it, as you can see here, we glide, we should have done a low pad at this point, it was playing downhill, and there's a whole team on height doing a really wide tarp, and they just kill one of our teammates up there. It's a really easily avoidable mistake. Honestly, you can see here, everyone else has scouted and they're doing low pads and avoiding that, but we didn't scout, we were just being too hyperactive and shooting at people, and that is my fault as an IGL. Still able to clutch out some placement out of this game. Make sure we use a double pad on first moving, since we're just playing as a duo, we're going to save the majority of our mats for later, so we can make sure we're staying front side, so we tarp for a second here, then we go ahead and low pad from the same box. You obviously don't want to draw attention yourself by running out while placing a low pad. That saves in the same amount of mats. We still got like 1200 mats at this point. Okay, this is something really useful. I talked about quite a lot. It's in the solos masterclass as well. Whenever the zone pulls like this, everyone is going to be focused on rotating, and because we're kind of towards the dead side on that south side, we can actually do something called the anti-jump strat, where you just tarp in wood with these backwards ramps, and it is really effective to do. Everyone else is ahead of you or over to your right hand side. We're on a really clear layer here, so we can just continue tarping. I swapped a little bit more of an expensive tarp, but just the fact that I'm using wood and I'm saving the majority of my hards for later on allows us to actually get so much done later in the end game as a duo, even though everyone else is running around as a trio. But at this point, I died just because I ran out of mats, and my teammate's able to clutch out a little bit. Probably should have tried to play like back in Storm for a second. He's kind of on a really high layer, so it's quite obvious. Get 7th place, which is still pretty decent considering everybody else is running around as a trio, and the game is obviously a Storm Surge moving. Still a couple small mistakes in those end games that we definitely need to work on for future events, and a couple small mistakes that I'm making as an IGL, which I'm sure helped you guys. As always, make sure to like on the video. Also, there should be a masterclass update coming pretty soon. I'm trying to work on finalising all the videos, but make sure to look out for that for Season 8 as well. And make sure to go check out FortniteMasterclass.com as well.